Okay, so you want to make an animal. I am going to make a cat. So right now you have a clump of clay and you want to make an animal. All right, so what you need to do first is figure out how much you're going to need for each part of the animal. So I'm going to need, the biggest part is going to be the torso. So I'm going to cut, get a piece there. And then the head, okay? And then I'm going to leave 4 legs and I need a tail. So I'm going to get a little bit for the tail, but this will be for the leg. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this piece of clay. And notice it's a little bigger because it is going to be 4 pieces. And this is a trick for how to make 4 equal pieces. You are going to roll it into snake, and then I want you to sort of cut this in half, whatever you think half is, and then half again. Now this, obviously it's a 4-legged creature there, so there are my 4 legs, my torso, my head, and my tail. Okay, so first thing you have to do is plan the pieces. Okay, now I'm gonna start by making the torso, and I will roll it into a ball and then into a barrel. So this is barrel, this is ball. So there. And every once in a while, if you notice there's crinkliness or it's not connected, you can put your hands in the water that's on your table and get rid of the unevenness. You see, I'm rubbing with my thumb so that it's nice and smooth. We're gonna have a chance to smooth it out even more later. So there, that's the basic torso, and I want my animal to kind of be standing. So I'm going to need a cup that has mud in it. So I'm gonna show you how to make that. So I have these little containers in my class, and to make slip or mud, you need to put a little bit of clay. I'm going to use a little bit of this clay. I'm going to put it in the cup, and I'm going to put some water in it. And notice I didn't put a lot of water. And then with a brush, I keep softening the clay until it basically turns to mud. So notice what's happening. And I use a brush for this, and you will see why in a second. So this is called slip, and you yourself can make slip with any piece of clay and a little water. Might need a little more water here, a teeny bit there. So now you have muddiness in a cup. That's going to be your clay glue, is in essence. You need this anytime you combine pieces together. Okay? Okay, so my slip is done, ready to go. Now back to my creature. Now, you're also gonna need like a scratcher, and you can use anything for a scratcher. It can be like a little knife, a little plastic knife. You're gonna do is you're going to scratch the areas where the leg is going to go into. So remember, there's 4 legs. So I'm going to get closer so you can see. I'm just scratching those areas, and I'm going to do similarly to those legs. You see the 4 legs. I'm going to use my little plastic knife to score or scratch the surface that's going to be attached to the body. This is very, very important in clay. If you want to add anything to your clay, this is the way to do it so it doesn't break. So you notice I scored or scratched all of the legs, and now we're ready to combine. I'm gonna get my slip, and I'm gonna put some of that clay glue here and put some clay glue here, and I'm gonna attach to the body and then use my fingers to blend. Okay, you're gonna do that same thing to all four, to all three other legs there. Notice that I'm adding the slip. And remember what slip is. Slip is just clay, but it's a wetter version of it. And I'm attaching the legs to the body. Now, if you don't do this, your clay sculpture is going to look amazing, but then after baking it, all the pieces are just going to fall apart. So this is something you have to do if you want your sculpture to survive. Okay, so now I have my four-legged beginnings of a four-legged creature. It stands. I'm now going to do the tail, and I'm going to just do a not a really thin one. If you in clay, if you do anything like thinner than your pinky, it will pretty much break off. So I try not to do things that are too thin. So I'm going to attach the tail here, and remember what to do with both sides. You're scoring or you're scratching, and then you grab your clay mud, clay glue, and this is definitely a messy project. Don't worry about like positioning so much yet. You're gonna have plenty of time for that later. So there is the tail, and now I'm gonna work on the head. The head is just gonna be a nice circle or ball. And again, don't worry about like making it perfect right now. We're just gonna attach the head, gonna score, okay, and oops, I forgot. I'm gonna put the clay mud on both parts. Pretend it's like glue. I think once you pretend it's like glue, and then it's easier to understand its purpose. Okay, and this is really important, using your fingers to get rid of that line where they meet. You want to combine there. Okay, now for the ears for this one, I'm just going to pinch. So I'm going to just take my fingers and pinch a little ear for each side, because I mean you could attach a little ear if you want, but this is where you're gonna start like using your hands to kind of move the clay around to what you want it to look like. So I want there to be like a front of the face, so I'm just like moving the clay around. There we go. Okay, and always make sure everything is how you want it before you add texture. So the last part of my sculpture is going to be adding the details. So notice there's nothing on it yet. And I can use, again, the same tool I was using, or I can pick a different tool to add fur or texture. I'm going to make sure to add fur to my kitty cat all over. Notice that I'm leaving the details at the end, okay? And this is where I'm gonna try to find a pencil or some kind of, ooh, this is a good one, to make the eyes. So I'm gonna just, ooh, these are gonna be really big eyes. How cute is that? And then I'm going to clean this off to make the whiskers. Okay, and maybe I could just do like this. How cute is that? Okay, and I'm gonna just add texture everywhere, even the tail, because a cat has fur everywhere. Yeah, this is where you have to be super careful. I'm gonna actually even add some little toes. Like, let me see there. Like, that's cute. to the legs. Continue adding texture. Okay, now all around, and there is my four-legged creature. If you wanted to make an animal that was like a giraffe, then of course you would just add like another one of these tubular shapes or cylindrical shapes before the head. If you wanted it to have horns, you could pinch other things in there. If you wanted to be a different creature is what I'm saying. If you want him to be walking, you can move the leg. If you want him to be sitting, you could do different things with the body. So this is where you kind of get it to where you want it. And before you bake it, you're going to have to let it sit for a couple days so that it's ready to be baked. Okay, so there is my rough and tumble kitty. And here's also where you can like kind of play around with how you want the tail to go. You can add details to the ears. You can give it a collar if you want. All right, so I hope you have fun.